I was strolling through the poetry section, as you do, and a very inconspicuous little book popped its head up, and there was the poetry of Catherine Mansfield. And that coincided with a timing for me looking for another poetry to song project. The anthology was about 60 poems. So every kind of emotion. I spent a month reading them and would wake up in the middle of the night and I felt like I was in Camp Catherine.
The girl's mad in love with the river unveils her face and smiles. In her sleep brooding eyes, they mirror their shining wings. She lies on silver pillows, the sun leans over her.
I found it fascinating, and as part of the development of the show, everything that was on stage is written by Catherine Mansfield. I loved The Awakening River because it's a poem about desire, and she was very, very driven by elements of her sexuality, and that comes out in the tension in the short stories, and it's referred to in the poem. So it's a flat-out love song, really. So I gave it my best shot.
You will catch on. Fire. You will catch on. You will catch on.
Will is one of 6 members of Phoenix Foundation who has been a huge success, and Will contacted me separately and said, hey, I'd like to do this, and I thought,
Beam of light was shaking out to the sky.
Because of his percussion background, and he's a studio boffin, he would give the poem that had this, lyrically it was speaking about a strange creature, and I thought he would be able to animate that poem in an idiosyncratic way, which was the truth.
Down to the brimming tide, there it lay. When Charlotte gave me the poem, A Sunset, I initially thought of Catherine Mansfield, who spent a lot of time in Eastbourne and obviously was a big lover of nature, so the beautiful natural harbour and the hills and the way that you can observe the light there. It's the image really that comes to mind within the poem. Palely tossing like a creature condemned to die. And then there's also the question of her mortality, and I feel particularly the first verse is her kind of acknowledging the fact that she's going to die. Big waves grown to her. Hush now. I suppose it was really just about finding soft and light sounds. Nothing too abrasive or too challenging in the frequency spectrum. Bit of vibraphone. It's actually sampled some plastic bottles, which had a really nice sound. A sunset is a natural occurrence that reminds us in a way of the impermanence of life, because it's the end of a day. And the birds of shadow fall.
In the wide bed, under the green embroidered quilts, with flowers and leaves always in soft motion.
It's the last poem that Catherine Mansfield wrote, so that's a bookend, if you like. She wrote it in October, and by January the 9th, 1923, it was all over, Red Rover. So I needed somebody who could give an element of sorrow, but not maudlin. Wistful, I think, was what I was looking for.
The hunter threw his darts.
Brooke has such, it's sort of an alt folk, and with quite a soft but deceptively intriguing and inviting form of musicality, which is lush and yet very specific.
When I first got the poem,
I went and did some research into Catherine Mansfield at the time of writing the poem and realised that she was suffering, was perhaps in a bit of denial with what was happening, and being her last poem she ever wrote. I started with this arpeggiated sound that kind of created this very ethereal space for this song to be in, and I really loved the lyrics.
Down she drops, and we're still guiding people come to the edge of the pool with baskets. Of course, what the poor bird wants is plenty of food.
And I realised, you know, she was 34 at the time of writing, and that was also when I was writing this, so I could really feel like the fact that, you know, I feel quite young, so to think that she was in her last year was quite heavy and gave me a sort of a way of connecting.
In the sky there are two stars floating and shining.
It was really nice to get this opportunity to figure out how to set some words to music.
There's no bullshit with Catherine. She is very direct, and she buffs and polishes her work till it shines so hard you cannot resist it.
Oh, my wings, lift me, oh, my wings, lift me. I am not so dreadfully hurt, not so dreadfully hurt, not so dreadfully hurt, not so dreadfully hurt, not so dreadfully hurt.
Fire, you will catch on. Fire, you will catch on. You will catch on. You will catch on.